going on, everybody? Welcome back to another, and I mean another amazing episode of the Viall Files, Going Deeper edition with Shayne from Love is Blind 2.
Some spicy content.
Answering all your burning questions. Shayne delivered.
Yeah, it was like really his side of the story. Like I've never thought of it before.
And he came in, we've
Well,
had
he
other people.
came in ready.
We've had other people hype up, their own interviews before that, were okay, but fell a little flat.
We won't name names.
We won't. It really felt like Shayne had a lot to get off his chest. And what he was is what she's always been, at least from our point of view, is honest with how he feels, with whether you agree or disagree with him. He got off his chest. So we will get to that. Welcome back, Allie, from
Thank you.
doing whatever the fuck.
You never listen to anything I'm ever doing. But it's okay.
What you went to Puerto Rico?
Mm-hmm.
Natalie and I were thinking about going. Should we go?
It was great. The place we stayed was lovely. Happy to send you a rec.
Okay,
yeah, it was really great.
Me boys? Any?
No, I did see Wedding Boy when I was home.
Oh,
How was that? It was good.
thought he.
I was thinking about
Good on
something
him.
because, I mean, obviously we met through mutual friends, so he knew I was home for like 2 days before we went to Puerto Rico through our mutual friends. And then we like got coffee and walked around and talked, and it was just a very interesting sensation. And then yesterday, I was going to church with my grandma and we were making small talk. And I was asking her about this house that she lived in for like 40 years where my mom grew up. And I was like, well, do you know who lives there now? And she didn't because it had gone through a couple other owners. And I was like, getting together with an ex and trying to like act normal, like you were friends, has the same sensation of like a house that has so many memories that you have so many questions about now. You have more questions than answers. And you used
why
to
are you
like
asking yourself questions.
I don't
about it?
know. It's just like it's weird. It's a weird sensation.
Like deja vu?
Yeah, it kind of, or it's just like this used to mean so much and now I know nothing about it.
Yeah.
Because he was like, we're just talking about small talk. And I was like, what are we supposed to be talking about?
Yeah, but it feels
We
so
don't know
reminiscent of
anything.
a time when things were so much more,
Yeah.
where things were incredibly different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was trying to have small talk about something. Like you have small talk with people you don't have or didn't have any type of intimate connection with.
Totally. Even like giving him a hug was kind of odd, but you know what I mean? It's just like a weird.
I feel like I've gotten to the point with my ex, right? And I told him this. I was like, I feel like you're a cousin to me. Not a sibling, but a cousin. I'm like
Like a second cousin.
No,
Cousins
I'm
you
not
be
super.
close with.
I'm not super close with my cousin.
Gotcha.
I much love to them, but they just live far away.
Cousins, like you're related, but that's
Yeah, and because it was after like the power went out, and he famously lives half a block away from me, and so we ended up like going for a walk, and it's just like stuff like that where it's like, yeah, I'll have your back and stuff like that, and make sure you have a flashlight and stuff, but.
like I'll have your back if you need me, but you should never need me.
Yeah, but like, cousins, like you don't really plan to see your cousins. You just know you're going to see them at like various family events.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that's the most peace I've found.
Who knows?
Welcome back.
Glad to have you back. We have obviously we have Shayne today. Next week, Justin Long, Ask Nick. You've been asking for it. 200 episodes later, he is back. He's as Justin Long as he's ever been, and he is just as charming and wonderful. Great insight. With
Delightful.
So if you are tuning in to listen to Shayne, and I don't know how familiar you are, maybe you are a first-time listener to get the piping hot tea, welcome. We have 3 shows a week. On Monday, Ask Nick. People call in, share their stories, or dating stories usually, sometimes friend problems. I'm pretty good at giving some feedback, honest feedback, helping people understand their situations a little bit more honestly. If you're interested in any type of relationships, if you're going through it right now with a breakup of any sort, maybe you're going through a situationship yourself, I think you'll really enjoy our Ask Nicks on Mondays. Again, Justin Long is our guest. Most of the time I do it on my own, but sometimes we bring in Justin. People like Justin. We talk a lot of Bachelor reality TV on our Tuesdays, other pop culture gossip, and then obviously we have our Wednesday show. If you're first time listening, we have our mediation segments that we often do with our guest because there was so much to talk about with Shayne, we didn't want to bog him down with a mediation call, so I do it on my own. Similar to Ask Nick's as individuals, mediations with couples. I hope you enjoy it. If you have been listening to this show, we appreciate it. Thank you for allowing me to give a little preview into our new listeners who have joined in for the Shayne interview. I do have a book coming out in October for anyone who is interested in relationships or relationship advice. As you guys know, if you're familiar with this book means a lot to me. I wrote it. It took over 2 years. The whole goal is to make you feel more powerful and in control of your love life and all aspects of dating, especially dating heartbreak, getting over an ex. Everything in that book is something I've had to learn the hard way. That's the point of view I'm coming from. And I really believe that it's an easy, fun read. It's not technical, obviously, but I truly believe that you can get some helpful tidbits from the ladies. Have you finished it?
It pairs very well with like a nice rosé. Like it reminds me of like a nice beach read.
Did you learn anything?
Yeah. And
Did
I
you-
like that there's sometimes like little like infographic things of like text messages. It's very like fun. Keeps you on your toes.
Well, anyways, link in bio, our show description, if you want to pre-order the book, comes out in October. It would mean so much to me. I promise it won't be a waste of your money. We have a billionaire next week, Wednesday's Going Deeper, who invented the female Viagra and then sold it, bought it back because she didn't think it was being properly distributed to women who might be interested in that sort of drug. They were trying to shelve women wanting more sex, seems like. I don't know. A lot to find out. Cindy Eckert is our billionaire's name. So much to talk about, women in business, and women's sex drive, sexuality. I mean, I'm so fascinated by this conversation. I cannot wait to talk to her next week. So it's worth the wait. Shayne, everybody. Shayne, welcome.
Thank you.
Everyone's been waiting for this. I want to say just off the bat, thank you for hyping up your own appearance. I've never had a guest be so good at hyping up their appearance, which I appreciate. And I don't know if it was just sheer luck. I know you've been off kind of doing, some personal things and kind of like busy and unable to do interviews, but the people are still, there's a lot of unanswered questions, I think, as it relates to Shayne. And what's your last name, Shayne?
Jansen. Yes.
Classic Wisconsin last
Right.
name.
Yeah. Big Dutch guy back home in Wisconsin.
Yeah. So I feel like you have a lot to say. Let me ask you this. What is, more than anything, something that you want to get off your chest?
Okay. I want to say the Natalie stuff and Shaina stuff for like later on right now. I want to get off the whole drug stuff, the ADHD problems that people are going after me for, all that stuff. I want to get that off right away.
Do you use drugs?
Have I?
Have I?
Yes. Have I done them? On the show, I did not.
What type of drugs?
Experience with a few of them. Nothing that's been injected into my body, but we've all done. I think we've all had our times in our lives where we've done certain things.
Okay, but the any idea that you were at any point on the show doing drugs?
None.
Completely.
That's false.
False. You're just.
I have, it's obviously not a secret anymore, but I have severe ADHD.
Okay.
And you're sitting in this tiny little room for 3 hours. It's not 30 minutes.
Like your nightmare.
It's like 3 hours. And I felt like, you have cameras here, right? And just staring at you while you're confessing your love and you're talking about all your deep emotions. It's a very uncomfortable situation, right? I mean, regardless, you don't get used to it. I'm much more comfortable when, we were shooting back in Chicago. And that's where you saw the better side of me, those next 5 episodes in Chicago, because I could be more of myself walking around, doing my own thing and having those conversations. Whereas I'm just sitting in a room and I was just bouncing off the wall. And of course, I'll be the first to admit, I don't help my anxiety, but I drink, this is 5 shots of espresso right here. So
Hey, what the fuck?
5?
5. That's a warm up.
That's not terrible.
Have you always had?
No, that's terrible.
It's not good.
That's terrible.
Nah.
That's not good.
Yeah,
I know it's not good.
I also have ADHD. I am also.
Yeah.
I'm either super chill only because for self-preservation, or if I have too, I can get real hyped up. I'm a decaf. I'm on decaf. Shayne.
Yeah.
Because the only thing that caffeine does to me is
It makes me
turns me into you.
Yeah. Turns me into me.
Five.
I love it.
Why? Why do you do that to yourself?
Um,
You drink Red Bulls too?
No, I don't do any energy drinks. No,
Oh my God.
no. After that, I usually have 5 in the morning, 3 at night, and then maybe like a pre-workout for like later on.
3 at night?
Like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's something I'll work on, but yeah, that's like that's what it's like. We start filming at 7, and we're not there till like 3 sometimes, right? So I needed energy to stay up, and obviously I probably did a little too much, but like, yeah, dude, I just have horrible anxious energy. Like sitting in a room like this is like I'm gonna be moving around a lot. That's just who I am.
So we can put to bed any drug use type of stuff.
Yeah.
What did that, when you were reading that, what did that make you feel?
I mean, no offense. Like if people thought I was doing cocaine, I'm mic'd up the whole time. Everyone would have heard me do it. Like it's wild to think that I was carrying cocaine on me, and I was just snorting lines, and I was doing all this kind of stuff in the bathroom when I'm mic'd up. Like they can literally hear you whispering. Every word you do, they hear. And like, how can they not hear me just do that?
I feel like we solved the mystery, and that's 5 espresso shots to start your day.
You know.
And then 3 more in the afternoon to keep it going. Like, I feel like that does the trick.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it affects everyone differently.
Yeah. But that was the first thing I just want to put to rest. I'm sick of seeing snowflakes in my DM and my comments and everything like that. I was like done with it.
It was definitely a burning question that people wanted to know.
Yeah. I'm not naive to say I haven't done it before in my past. No, but like it's like no, not on the show. I'm not going to risk everything for that on the show.
But that's like a bit of an enigma on the show. You were the perceived villain in the first 2 episodes, kind of public enemy number 1, because you had that incident with Natalie and Shaina when you found out that Natalie was in the room and it wasn't Shaina, and you did that weird thing with the crayon. You're just trying to beat the shit out of the crayon. It was like a weird.
That was very uncomfortable watching that. I was very uncomfortable watching.
Yeah,
that.
what was that like for you?
I'm not going to make an excuse about the situation because how I handled it was horrible. I regret it, but you got to realize we walk into that room, you hear the tiny little microphone. And people's voices are like, you're just getting to know these people still at this time. And yes, I made a mistake by calling her the wrong name.
Did you think you were set up by production? Because how does it work? You know, like, do you, like, are you told you're going to be in a room with
No, you have no idea who you're going in the room with.
You never have an idea.
You never have an idea. So you walk into that room, you have no idea who you're talking to.
Okay. But what made you think that it was going to be Shaina and not Natalie?
Because you only have it's like you break it down. You start with 15 people the first day, right? And you go down to like 8 on day 3, who you talk to, and it comes down to your final 4 people. And you have a pretty good idea of it's kind of like 2 people you might want to keep talking to the most and everything. And obviously Shayna's voice and Natalie's voice stuck out to me the most. I just kind of knew those 2. And yeah, I walked in and I was obviously overzealous and mess it up. Yeah.
It's a weird thing to watch yourself back. I mean, I have a lot of grace for obviously you in the situation, or anyone who goes on reality TV. We are very quick to dissect and pick apart like these reactions. Like I always tell these 2 when they, like, film yourself for an entire day and get upset and be caught off guard, and it's gonna be a really weird thing. So I have a lot of grace for you that way, because you're an enigma in the sense that, like, you're a big guy. You're tall, you're a good looking guy. You kind of have a very bro-y face.
And I always say, I'm the first to admit I can come off as a huge tool and a huge douche. Like, that's who I am. But if you get to know me as a person, it's like I do have a lot of, I care a lot, and I wear my heart on my sleeve, and the people I do like I just show it that way, like expressively.
I think that was very obvious for the people watching. I took a lot of pride in the fact that I felt like when I was watching it, people were very quick to be like, "Oh, this guy," early on, the first couple episodes, and then and you guys, I was like, I don't know,
mad
just
shit
wait
about you, and I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, please join the club. Join the club.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised if you weren't. Actually, I'd probably have to check you out. Like, why? What was wrong with you if you didn't make fun of me?
But I was just like, I don't know. There's something. I'm not quick to. I wasn't quick to like say we know exactly who this guy is yet, because you saw those glimpses of like maybe he's just, and I say this with love, like odd. And
I'm very odd.
I'm
very odd.
He's not. It's hard to see. Yeah. it's hard to understand this guy at first because you have a lot of eccentric kind of personality aspects to you. It's an intense energy you give off.
Yeah, it is.
And I think for a guy your size, that can also, for a show that's predominantly watched by women, can be very, just even on the screen, I think, intimidating.
Yeah.
Is that something, like, what have you become more aware about yourself having watched the show? Anything that you maybe adjust in terms of like your energy, your approach to people, or maybe nothing at all? Because it's a weird thing, right? Watching yourself back and be like, I do that.
Yeah, man. It's so like I said, the one time for sure is when I gaslit Natalie, and like so our form of communication is so different. Where she's very quiet. She'll think things through first, and like we'll come back and talk 20 minutes later. Whereas me is like, I just want to get off my chest. Let's go at it right now, and like let's try to talk it out. I need to learn how to like just listen and not having such a reactive emotion right away to it. And that's what I do every time. It's like I have that reactive emotion, and it's something that I wish I didn't have. Something I'm trying to work on. I'm seeing a therapist, all this kind of stuff. Yes, I am.
For you.
Yes.
Yeah. Is that something you started since the show?
Huh?
Post show, did you start that?
Yes.
Good for you.
Yeah, I just knew I needed it regardless. But
have they at the therapist you're working with? Do they give you any tool? Like, you're not the first person who's like a lot of people are reactive.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people aren't good at dealing with those types of emotions.
Right. But most people don't have the energy that I have, and that's a double negative right there with that situation. I feel like. Yeah. So they want that's the number one thing is just like I just got to like make sure I just got to take time and like. Nothing good comes from like what happened. What is happening now will still be there, 30 minutes from now, an hour from now. Like, just you gotta like chill out and I just gotta learn how to control my energy better. I do a very bad job of it. It's fun to be around, but it's not fun with your partner and you're arguing and all that kind of stuff. But I need to learn how to do better at that.
Online therapy, it's amazing, and BetterHelp is helping you connect with the mental health professionals that you know and love. Well, you should hopefully love. And if you don't know them, you need to. It's never been easier to get therapy, get counseling, and we're big advocates on this show. If you care about your diet, if you care about exercise, you should also care about taking care of that mental health. It's all about maintenance. You don't need a crisis to validate or to justify getting therapy. But if you are going through a troubled time, whether it's stress or anxiety or work or relationships of any kind, let some of the mental health professionals at BetterHelp help guide you through those difficult times, give you some resources, help you control the things you can control. BetterHelp is committed to facilitating great therapeutic matches, so they make it easy and free to change therapists if needed. So yeah, good therapy is all about finding the right fit, and sometimes you just don't have someone you jive with. That's okay. You can get someone new, and BetterHelp is making that easy for you. There is a broad range of expertise available, which may not be locally to you. It doesn't matter, because at BetterHelp, you can log on your phone, your tablet, your computer, wherever you are. In fact, so many people have been using BetterHelp that they are recruiting additional therapists in all 50 states. Join the over 2 million people who have taken charge of their mental health with the help of an experienced professional. Special offer for Viall File listeners. Get 10% off your first month at BetterHelp.com/VIALLFILES. That is BetterHelp.com/ViallFiles. How's your sleep with all this caffeine that you're...
I sleep fine.
Shocking to me.
Yeah. No offense. That when the show came out, I didn't sleep at all, really. Also, that brings up another point. My wedding day, where I looked like I was coked out of my mind, I didn't sleep for 2 days straight because I had no idea what she was going to say at the altar. No idea. My parents were, my mom was in town. My whole family was in town. I was so embarrassed that my anxiety was like going crazy.
Why were you embarrassed? Because you were about to like get married to someone you knew for a
you
month?
have to go to the altar, right? So it's like, it's such an awkward, uncomfortable situation, right?
What do you mean you have to go to the altar?
You have to go to the altar.
Like, you have to?
You have to. Whether you say yes or no is up to you, but you have to go through with it, yeah.
How do they make you?
Well, it's kind of what you sign up for.
No, I know. But
I have to. You have to do it. I don't know. Like, I didn't read my contract that well, I guess, but like everyone does it. You have to go up to the altar. That's the point of the show, I think.
Totally. They need the clip at the end.
They need the clip at the end.
But it's like I get that, and there's like being on The Bachelor, there's a pressure you feel, and at this point the show's been on so long, the pressure is mostly applied from the audience or the perception that you have to, but like there's no And there's certainly a lot of like what I say, your friends who tell you to buy the boat, be like, oh,
Mhm.
but like there have been people who have broken the mold.
Yeah.
And so when you say very like confidently and definitively, no, you have to do that,
Yeah.
that I'm just curious as to like, did you honestly feel like you were like, no, fuck it. I'm
Oh yeah, the night
showing
before.
up.
The night before, I hit up some like the producers and whatnot, and I'm like, I can't do this. I don't want to go.
And what
But then
they-
we have to see it through.
And what did they say?
We have to see it through.
Have to see it through.
But what if you just like ran? You know
Well,
what I
I'd
mean?
probably have a fat lawsuit on my back right now. I don't know.
I don't know.
At the end of the day, it's like all I didn't know what to do at the time, and it's like
You were just like,
there
fuck
was so
it.
much. Dude, honestly, at that point, I was so mentally exhausted by everything that was going on in my life, and like I just didn't want to have another problem on my hand. It's like let's just get through this. Let's go and like just be. Dude, I was mentally drained at the end of that. At the end of that, it was so long.
I can't imagine.
How long?
Like,
How long do you guys film on The Bachelor?
well,
If you make it to the end, but yeah,
like in a pre-COVID world,
Yeah.
it was like 9 weeks.
okay,
Yeah.
that's long.
How long was? But
About-
it's also like you're completely off the grid. You guys were off the grid in the pods,
Yep.
but like you had your phone. You were back in society.
Yeah.
So it's a different.
Yeah. We had
social
work. We
experiment.
were working all day, and then we had to film at night.
Really.
Yes. So I'm
What was that?
I'm
What-
working. I'm working from 7 to 5, 7 to 6, and then
What do you do for work?
real estate. So I get
How
off
did
of
you
work.
get anything done?
I didn't. My work was bad. It was very bad.
Because I just emotionally, mentally, how could you? Oh, I couldn't imagine.
That's my thing. And yeah, so then you film at night. You have your date nights, and you have all this kind of stuff at night with her, or else they want to.
Did work know what you were doing?
Yeah, they loved it.
Wow.
Like, oh yeah, make sure you brand stuff here. I'm like, don't fuck you guys.
Oh, they were.
My mental health's all spiraling downhill. We're our brand.
Yeah, listen. Here's a T-shirt. Can you wear it at your proposal?
Yeah. They loved it.
Like if she breaks up with you at the altar, just rip off your shirt and have the
Superman.
logo painted to your chest.
I still wouldn't have been as bad what Shake did.
But we'll get into that. Well, are you ready to talk about the fight the night before? I mean, since we were
let's talk
talking about
Yeah.
what happened.
All right. So that was our bachelor and bachelorette party nights. Okay. Obviously, it's a
the
little,
night before.
No. So it was like 2 nights before.
Okay.
Technically, I think. I'm trying to think. It was so long ago. It wasn't the night before. We didn't have our bachelor party night the night before.
But
The
it was
wedding. It was that night. It's our bachelor party night. We're all we were at Wrigley Field that night, ready, and like they were at their boat cruise or something like
and
that.
they filmed that.
Yes,
that's where
exactly.
you were
But
like
then-
a
yeah.
really bad baseball player.
Oh, don't get me started. Dude, that was honestly the most embarrassing part.
And Jarrett,
Jarrett.
he looked like a natural.
Yeah, I know.
Effortless.
My one chance of shine. I
tried too
I
hard.
failed. And dude, people didn't. The whole
Did
thing,
you play baseball?
The whole bat slamming on my knee thing. That was supposed to be a joke about just like a Bo Jackson kind of
Yeah.
breaking over my knee thing, but that was obviously not taken that way. Yeah, I played baseball my whole life, college baseball too.
You played college ball.
Dude, I went up there swinging for the fences. I went up there hard.
But you played college ball. That's very good.
Mhm.
Where'd you play?
At Stevens Point.
They have a good program.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that like one of the best?
It was.
E3
Yeah, I
school
don't know
programs?
anymore. I don't like look into it anymore. But yeah, they used to be.
They
Yeah,
were really
yeah, they used to be really good.
because you looked bad.
Hmm?
You looked really bad.
Oh, I know. I'll never live it down.
Jarrett looked like he could have got a minor league contract.
Okay,
how effortless his
let's bring
swing
it down.
was.
Take it down a notch.
Anyway, so
Anyways,
back to,
yes. So that was a night. So we had our bachelor and bachelor party nights. Okay, we weren't supposed to meet up that night either. The guys had like all their friends, and then we went back to our apartment complex where all the couples stay.
Oh, so they kind of rented out a building.
Yes,
for you guys.
exactly. It's easier for filming purposes, I think, and everything like that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then the girls decided to join the party that night, which we weren't supposed to do. You're supposed to be separate from.
Do you think that was the women's idea, or do you feel like the show was like, oh,
I think.
come on the party?
Well, I honestly I have no idea, but I mean I had no problem with them coming over and having fun.
Okay.
It was,
Anyway, so
I
they
didn't care. But no offense on your bachelor party night, you're all drinking with your friends. Like so at this point, it's like it was a long night, and we were all drinking, and like we were also it was like a celebration because we're almost done filming. We're a celebration. We can find things with our friends, have fun, let loose. No cameras around. We're having fun, and of course, so she gets back, all of her friends, and we're partying with them, having a good time, and she starts calling me out for some of the things that like I'm doing
Such as?
Like drinking too much.
Okay.
Yeah. But I wasn't arguing with anyone at the time. I wasn't doing anything wrong. I was just...
So was that something she had a problem with, like, while you were dating for the month?
No.
Or in that night, she was just like, why are you so drunk?
That night, yes.
Okay.
And it wasn't... The drinking wasn't the problem before. Like the weeks
so
before.
At the bachelorette party,
Yes.
You're at your bachelor party, you're getting loose,
Yes.
a little drunk.
Which everyone usually does on their bachelor party nights.
And she's calling you out for being drunk.
Yes.
And then what happened?
And then I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I was obviously being very over dramatic and everything with that.
Sure.
I called myself out on that 100%. But at the same time, it's like, this has been weeks of buildup from us that was seen off screen. That like, she would always pick little things that I did wrong and never like appreciate anything I did right for her all the time.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
Yeah. And she made sure on camera to show off that kind of stuff. But outside of the cameras, not even close.
You felt like she was incredibly careful.
Yes, we always had talks about what she wanted to say and what we wanted to do all the time. And I'm like, dude, this is not like how I operate. Like I can't operate. I don't like thinking about stuff. Like I rather like I'm like this is like supposed to be a fun, enjoyable experience. Like just be our natural, normal selves. And no.
So like Natalie wanted like a pre-film
technically yes
breakdown. What should we like? She wanted to script your conversation
a little bit. Yes, not like to a certain extent. Yeah,
like curated.
Yes, a little bit. Yeah. So like for instance, the beach scene.
And that is not the Shayne brand.
That's not.
Shayne is just like I'm shooting from the hip.
Yeah, I'm coming in hot regardless. You're gonna watch still.
They might love me, they might hate me, but I'm gonna be myself.
I am, and that's one thing I can be happy with. But the beach scene, for instance, where I knew I had to talk to Shayna that night. I knew I had to, and Natalie was like freaking out about it the whole time.
When you mean had to?
I had to approach the situation. It's my first time seeing her.
Okay.
Outside of the pods.
So you personally.
Yeah.
I want for clarification because there's always questions about like the show. What part is the show? What part is you?
Yeah.
So this is something you personally felt like, hey, I need to see this through. Like I built a connection with this person. Also, like I get it. The show asks you to develop multiple relationships with people, and then you get engaged, and then you're supposed to think the other person died.
Yeah, but dude, guess what? Again, too, it's like, why is it okay for like when you're on The Bachelor, you can make out with multiple people throughout the whole weeks there? I was talking to two girls, okay, talking. God forbid, I didn't touch any of them, I didn't hug, kiss. Talking to two girls on a dating show. And I was getting ripped apart for playing both of them or whatever. Right? Whereas on your show, it's acceptable to make out with multiple people, tell multiple people you love them.
Well, I mean, I don't know if you've seen the finale, not so much anymore.
I didn't see that. No, I didn't watch the last one. No, but like it's just.
I get what you're saying.
That's what I'm trying to say. It's like, dude, I went into it with an open mind, and I'm like, I'm truly here to try to find someone to spend the rest of my life with. I'm not gonna get like just completely like dump two people right away and like you figure it out.
Clearly, people have had a lot to say about you.
Yeah,
but you approach this experiment, as the show called it, as authentically as anyone else.
Exactly.
That no one can fault you for.
Yeah.
You definitely went in fully committed to like whatever this was.
Yeah.
When you watched it back, did you feel like there was anything, especially in that initial ramp up period with Natalie and Shaina, that felt like, okay, yes, it's all obviously real footage, but the way they're framing this or the way they're sort of constructing a narrative feels inaccurate? Or did it feel like what you saw on screen was pretty similar to what you experienced?
I always say this, it's like, what happened? Like I did everything that was on that screen. It was very real, but like, yes, they could have easily have done, I've had a lot of good conversations with Shaina. I had a lot of great conversations with Natalie, but they had a point, I guess, what are you wearing comments all the time that I made. It's like, yes, I got it. I said it. It was like, we were in there for like 2 hours for us talking to each other. It was more of a joke of like, hey, what's your fashion? Like, what are you doing? And it's just like a joke thing. And it wasn't like anything sexual. Yeah. It was just like, whatever. It was like having fun with the conversation. And they had to highlight it every single time. Whereas they didn't go into any other conversation I was having, like how deep they were. And like, I wish they would have done more of that. But they definitely pointed out to make me look like I was like,
that could be some like careful editing. I know there's like on The Bachelor they've done. I know they vilified a couple person. Like every time you sit down for like an ITM.
Yeah.
I don't know what you guys call them. We call them in the moment interviews.
Yeah,
you sit down
in
the chair.
Yeah.
And you're on a TV show. You're being filmed. So what do a lot of people sit down? They do, and they kind of forget that they're on camera. Would it be smarter to do before you sit down? They go, "How's my hair? Do I look good?" And they're looking into the camera. And a couple times. I know on The Bachelor, they had this character in the B-roll. He was like kind of the villain and kind of talking like he doesn't care about these other guys. And then they had a comment of him being like, "How's my hair?" And like it was perfectly placed at a time where it came across as so incredibly like superficial and wrong, and like he was just like, do I look good? Because he's
Yeah.
on camera. So I get that. But back to your fight with Natalie,
Yes.
bachelor party.
Yes.
Do you remember what you specifically said?
Yes. Yes. But I always want to go back to this. So the beach scene though first, because this is where all stem from. So like she was very nervous about that night going into that night. Yes. Because this is our first time approaching the Shaina situation kind of, and we knew we had to because like the show wanted that to happen, obviously.
Sure.
So I knew I had to confront it and just like, do whatever. So I went there. She was like very nervous for what I was going to say and like, just like try to protect us as a couple. And I thought I did fantastic how I handled it there. And it was like, as much as I could for seeing this girl that I was like talking to and everything like that, right? Okay. And I told her everything we talked about. I didn't lie when I came back to talk to Natalie. It was all on camera. I said exactly what she told me. And they didn't show her when she was supposed to have a conversation with Shaina. They were supposed to have a conversation. And she ran away from the conversation.
Natalie.
She literally ran away.
Literally ran.
Ran.
How did that not make the cutting room
Because you know
floor?
why? They wanted America's sweetheart.
That would have been great. Can you picture this video of Natalie just running in the other direction?
Yeah.
That would have been a good TV.
Yeah. So I didn't want to have. Do you think I wanted to have a conversation with Shaina? Maybe, but like, I didn't need it. But I did it, and I stuck up for us and all that kind of stuff. And once our conversation was over, it was her turn to have a conversation with Shaina. And when they were about to sit down, she ran away. Legit ran.
And how did you feel about that?
Like I thought it was hypocritical.
Why?
Because she wants me to do all this stuff and like I'm doing all this stuff wrong. But then when she does it and it's right in front of her, like why don't you grow up and why don't you man up for some of the stuff that you've done too? It's like with her and like just call her out on her stuff. Why do I have to do it all?
Yeah, I see that. She was kind of like she wanted to be the polished, unproblematic.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. And then after we had our conversation about what me and Shaina talked about, and I told her everything, and I stuck up for ourselves. And then when we got back to our apartment, she goes, "Yeah, but I wish you would have done this. I wish we had done this. I wish we had done this."
Natalie,
yes,
to you about your conversation with Shaina.
Yes.
After she ran away.
Yep.
Yeah, that'd be frustrating.
Yeah.
What did you say?
I said, this is where it sounds. I'm like, I'm never enough for you. I'm never going to be enough. Like you pick and pick and pick away. Like she didn't say anything good I did that night at all. I don't like, and the whole affirmation stuff is like because she always picks at all of my like everything I do wrong, or that I supposedly did wrong.
What's your love language?
Yeah, you think you know what that is?
Yeah. You need a compliment.
No, I don't need a compliment. I just don't need to get fucking berated up by like everything I do wrong. It's not like, and people are like, dude, yes, would I like a compliment? It's like, and she got off scot-free in Mexico for calling me a piece of shit all the time. Like, oh, that's just her humor. Dude, I made it very clear in the pods too. It's like, listen, my whole like life, like every date I've gone on, like they always like say, oh, you always get compliments. You always get this. So like, why do you need more from me? Like, I'm just gonna like our conversations are always like joking and picking fun of like me. Like that's her way of flirting. It's fine, but like, dude, I don't get compliments because exactly what you're saying right now is people just feel like they can use me as a punching bag for that kind of stuff.
I was just about to ask you, do you feel like sometimes people think that you can take it and then you seem like someone you are sensitive from what I can tell.
I'm very
but
sensitive.
Not sensitive in a way. I think you're good at taking some jabs.
Yeah.
And you're able to laugh like other like maybe like not like you're better than let's say Will Smith at a joke.
Yeah.
But you have your limits.
Yep. Especially with the person you want to spend the rest of your life with.
Yeah.
I can handle it for my friends. They give me enough shit, and that's fine. It's funny, but like, I'm not in 8th grade anymore, where all of our conversations are we fucking just like poking fun at each other.
Do you think you pretend that you're not sensitive?
No, I am sensitive though.
No, I know, but that's not what I asked. Do you think at first when you meet people, people don't think that about you?
Yeah, probably. I think I'm probably much more confident than I am.
And maybe it's just kind of like that. How tall are you?
6'3".
Like I think you being a bigger kind of.
Yeah.
It's like people look at you and go, possible douchebag.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You know that.
Yes.
And so like let's just
It's true, it's fair.
Right? I'm just saying
not wrong.
I'm saying that about me. Like it's
not wrong.
You're a tall white male from Chicago. Like it's like right off the bat, it's potential douchebag qualities.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it can be exhausting sometimes.
Yeah.
So now that you're in this fight, she's calling you out for drinking.
Yep.
What did you say to her that came across, at least from her point of view, very triggering for her, and it was I guess, essentially a deal breaker for her.
Well,
At least that's how she positioned
I ended it. I called off the engagement again that night.
Okay.
Obviously very dramatic, but like, I'm like, I can't marry you. I'm never gonna be enough for you. It's like, you honestly like make me feel like I'm just not a good person, and I'm never gonna be enough for you ever. Because I've seen what a lot of the other guys on the show do and all that kind of stuff too. It's like, it's just like, I feel like I'm always like just a horrible person when I'm around her. She makes me feel like I'm a horrible person.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
That sucks.
And that's how I felt about it.
Did
and
you
like,
say you hate her?
huh?
Because that's
Yeah, I
what
did.
we remember. You did say that.
Yeah, I did.
That's all strong.
Oh, very strong. And I apologize 100 times over. And I said that numerous times at the reunion that if I could take that back, I would in a heartbeat. And I'm like, I think about it all the time. I think about it every day. I wish I would have used my words better, for sure. I wish I would have handled the situation better.
But it almost seems like that one, and you apologizing, you were wrong.
I was very wrong, yes.
But that became the focal point of that conversation, not everything else
Mhm.
that was talked about.
It basically overshadowed everything else.
It's a weird thing too, because like that obviously, when you say you hate someone, is a very strong. It's a noticeable thing. And it has a lot of passion behind it.
Yeah.
And in relationships, you need to give your partner feedback. Hey, can you not do this? Can you not do that? But over time, it can be a lot. And maybe Natalie. Now, let me ask you this. Looking back, do you think Natalie was kind of aware of that? That's what she did. Do you think that was a behavior that is not like that's how she is in relationships, or do you think it was maybe spoke to a lack of overall compatibility? Does that make sense?
It does. I truthfully just think like she was so uncomfortable with everything that was going on. Like this was not her kind of thing. This whole like this experiment,
Natalie
this
likes
show.
being in control, doesn't she?
Does she? Well, so do I to a certain extent, but like
Everyone likes being in control.
yeah,
You're
she was
willing
controlling her own narrative. Yes,
Yeah,
100%.
like the impression I got from you
Yeah.
is, I mean, everyone likes control, but
Yeah.
you were willing to accept that you weren't going to have control in this environment.
Oh, for sure,
and then
yes.
embrace it.
Yep.
Where Natalie, from what we're hearing from you,
and she felt she was out. She felt like she didn't have control because of who I am as a person, and she never really knew what she was going to get out of me, which is, I guess, not fair for her either. But I didn't change from the pods to outdoor to like the real world. I was the same person, like my energy levels, and if I was overwhelming to her, she could have found that out during all of our conversations in the pods.
So Natalie broke up with you at the altar.
Yes.
What were you thinking of doing?
When?
Like, let's say she.
Oh, I said yes.
You did say it.
I did say
Why?
yes. Because those next 2 days, like,
Because
I
that
sat,
doesn't make sense.
those next 2 days, yeah, no offense, my life doesn't make sense. Welcome to my life. But here's the deal: we also reconnected the night before the wedding.
Yeah.
And everything was great.
Okay. But you still, despite all,
I wanted to marry this girl. I really did. And maybe
but why?
Huh?
Why? Because like, and
I don't know. Maybe it's.
do you think that was like wanting to make this experience work? Because I mean, it's a really big thing, and again, we'll give Natalie the grace that like maybe it's not compatibility, but like to say that she made you feel like a horrible person and made you feel small and belittled.
Yeah.
Essentially, I'm putting words in your mouth with the belittled, but we talk about a lot of relationships on the show, and that is, if anything, like I ask people who call in, and they'll talk about chemistry, and they'll talk about this, and they'll talk about plans they had, and I'm just like, how do they make you feel?
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
Let me ask you this question though. So this is what I go back and forth with all the time. I love Natalie. I always did. I loved her, but did I fall in love with the idea, or because of how much it was pushed on me? Not like with the show, right? Like you talk about your emotions every single day. You fall in love with the idea of having a family, getting married, but like, I mean, was I go back and forth and think about it all the time. In a normal
You still
situation,
don't think you have the answer to that question?
I don't think I do.
Well, after hearing how she made you feel, I don't respectfully.
Yeah.
I don't think you had any business being in a relationship with her at all, let alone being married to her. I hope the next relationship you're in, you prioritize how someone makes you feel.
Yeah.
Regardless of how they look or how, like I always say, the good does not make up for the bad.
Yeah.
In a relationship.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
And because people all the time in toxic relationships, and you can be in in my opinion, in a non-professional therapist opinion, you can toxic doesn't mean abusive.
Yeah.
Like abusive is always toxic, but toxic in general could be like, I mean, people are toxic to each other.
Yeah.
Toxic is such a
It's like
broad
a spectrum.
It's like a spectrum of we're all manipulative in relationships,
Yeah.
and that's toxic, you
Yeah.
know, and when we're not being just upfront and honest with how we feel and we're passive aggressive, that's toxic,
Yep.
et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep.
So I don't think any type of chemistry or how much fun we have when it's good makes up for any kind of toxic behavior at all in relationships. And
That's
I think that's
interesting.
probably the number one mistake people make in relationships.
That's exactly what I made.
Is they're just like, but when it's good, it's so good. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, if you take an inventory of how you feel overall in the relationship, like your resting state of
Yeah.
being around this person, do you feel confident or insecure? Do you feel happy or do you feel sad? Do you feel calm or do you feel anxious?
Yeah.
Minus your ADHD of
Yeah.
naturally anxious person. But ideally you want to be with someone who brings that anxiety down, not
Right.
builds it up.
That's
And
true.
I'm fortunate enough to be in a relationship now with someone who, oh my God, my anxiety is 100 times better
Yeah.
around her. And I've been in relationships where that feeling of not being good enough and always
Mhm.
doing something wrong and looking over my shoulders, what did I do or say now?
Yeah.
I mean, there are times that I was out with Natalie at a party yesterday, and we were talking with friends, and we were.
Oh, I thought I thought you
Yeah.
were talking about my
Your-
ex-fiance.
your Natalie?
Oh, I'm sorry, my Natalie.
I totally forgot you
Yeah.
were. I totally forgot you were. Like,
What a plot twist, though.
This is like
so
a
by
Maury-
the way,
Oh wait, now it's come through
Yeah,
the door
bring
here.
her out.
I'm
Like a
dating
Maury-
Natalie.
Like a Maury Povich
Yeah.
moment where it's just I'm fucking your ex.
Oh my god! Icing on the cake.
No, my girlfriend's name is Natalie.
Oh, I forgot about that. No, I know that. Yeah, I just totally
and
forgot.
I'm aware that I, like you, can just say things. Sometimes I could have more of a filter in social settings than I've had in the past. And I become very self-conscious about it, where I'll say things and sometimes I'll look did I say something wrong? Is she going to be mad at me? Because I still have PTSD from past relationships where I think this would have caused a fight.
Yep.
And I just don't have that with my current girlfriend. So and that matters. It just doesn't matter how good the sex is or how good they are or how thoughtful they are on your birthday. If the day-to-day makes you feel belittled and small.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes sense. I mean, I was the opposite way of thinking that. Yeah. Because I always kept telling her, we have such good times. We have such good times. And that's also why we've reconnected 4 times after the show.
Well,
we tried 4 times.
Four times.
Yes, and just recently this past weekend.
Okay, because someone DM'd me and said, I saw Shayne and Natalie walking the streets of Chicago.
Yep.
What the fuck?
Mhm.
So you tried, and that was you guys trying?
So that was more of listen, I've been saying this the whole time. The best thing for us is to be cordial with each other and not be spiteful and hate and whatnot. It's
If she listens to this podcast,
she's gonna hate. Yeah, but guess what? I had some things that happened in the last couple of days where it's I'm just I'm fed up with it now. It's you can't.
Do you think she's going to be surprised? Have you told her everything you were telling us?
Yeah. So because I mean, yeah, she knows a lot of stuff. I mean, I could go. I have a lot more stuff, but
Like what?
Everyone's thinks that I kind of why was she with me? Why did she love me? I'm such a bad person. Why didn't she run? Why I'm a psycho. There's proof that she wished she said yes at the wedding. I have proof that she wished she said yes. She said it very vocally. She goes, "I wish I said yes at the altar."
She said
Numerous
this to
times.
you.
Yes, I have video proof of it and everything.
Why was it on video?
Well, because we were having a little cute time together, and it's just nice. It was nice to see.
You
That's
should-
toxic.
you should-
Toxic.
You should delete that.
I know. I'm going to.
It's just it feels like something.
I'm not going to blackmail this situation.
Well, you already said it, and you have the right to say it. But you should delete it.
Yeah. It's no. It's I'm sick of her getting away scot-free. Saying she was forced in this relationship where I was a mentally or whatever abusive to her. It wasn't even the case at all. She genuinely loved me and she know who I was, I guess. And it's I'm sick of people doing this. Her saying no at the altar, people are cheering her on, and it's that's great and all, but she wanted to say yes too.
I'm trying to think back because it's been a month since I watched it.
Yeah.
She never defended you.
Never did. Nope. And then once the show came out,
Because
She was liking comments on people's shit, like little passive aggressive stuff. It's like she knew all the hate I was getting from the show. Like I was getting ripped apart. Like I said, like I said before, I was trending for the first 5 days under the Ukrainian crisis on Twitter. On Reddit, I was getting like all these fucking animations and Gary Busey stuff and like wild shit. Like I was trending on Reddit, TikTok, and Twitter.
The Gary Busey one's kind of funny.
It's hilarious.
Yeah. And this is someone who's gotten some real bad memes made about me.
Yeah.
I've learned to laugh it off.
Yeah, see, I laugh. I laugh.
It's hard though. At first, it's not.
It is, and you think the person that's getting the best edit in the entire world, and like seeing all the hate I'm getting, you know, she didn't once like stick up for me and say like I had like when she posted one day on Instagram about like just a reminder that like what you saw on TV is just a short snippet of our love story. Like I'm like, can you please do something like this? Like I have family back home. Like, dude, something just stick up for me.
So because
I'm not a bad person, and like I'm sick. I was sick of like her not like defending it, and like she was milking every single thing she can.
Hearing you talk and the things like you're getting a lot off your chest.
I am. I'm trying to be respectful with it too, as much as I possibly can. It's just like because it still is. We were still arguing again last night about some things.
So the fact that you're still talking in the context of even considering getting back together is mind blowing for me, and I'm wondering.
It's not about getting back together. It was just kind of like.
But you said you talked about it 4 times, 4 different times.
Yeah, after the show.
After the show.
Sorry,
so the fact that once, and nothing against either of you, but just as the unit, seems insane.
Yeah.
From what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
But you did.
Yep.
And I'm wondering, the part of you that was interested in getting back together with her, did you feel like in any way, subconsciously or consciously, that if you got back together with Natalie, then everyone would assume that he can't be a bad guy? That if they loved Natalie and she took you back, that would exonerate you? Or, you know, was there a part of you that was chasing this
Truthfully not.
Okay.
No, not at all.
Well, I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, I'm dead serious. No, none of that kind of stuff mattered.
What was it about Natalie, and what is it about Natalie, despite your feelings and frustrations, which I think are valid and understandable, that you love? You say that you care about. Like, what is? I want we've. Natalie's taking a bit of a beating this episode. Let's bring her. Bring her up here. Remind us what it is that has drawn you. If it wasn't that, because that would be understandable, and I'm glad that you can confidently say that it's not. What are the things that keeps drawing you back to that relationship?
So, you know, when people ask me this question, I ask myself this all the time. It's like usually in every relationship I'm in, it's 3 months, and I have no problem letting go, never talking to you ever again, whatever it is. With her, I just felt. Damn, this is hard to explain because like I honestly every time like we hung out together, it just was so easy. She was my best friend. Like we got along so well. Everything we did is like we could finish each other's sentences. We could we had such fun outside the cameras, and like she just made me feel like safe for the most part and like comfortable.
How safe?
I could spend the rest of my like just be safe. Like I can have a family with this girl. I don't know. I just like I don't know how.
Did you feel like understood, or was it like a stability thing?
It was stability. It was more stability. Yeah.
Like, I don't understand safe, because how can you feel safe if you feel belittled? But is it more, because she seems like generally like a high character person. She has her shit together.
Yeah.
Are you saying safe in the sense that like, I feel like Natalie could get herself out of a jam.
Mm-hmm.
Like she seems like, she has her shit together.
Yeah.
Is safe that way, you mean?
No, like just like I don't like on like for instance like a different relationship I would be in, I would feel like uneasy about certain things like about our future and all that kind of stuff possibly. Like with her, I just knew it would always work out. I felt like that's the kind of safety I felt like. I just knew it'd work out and we'd be good. We'd figure everything out and we would take care of it that way. But then yes, it's fucked up to think that way because of how else the other things she would do. I don't know why I would think that way.
I mean, listen,
that's how I felt. It was easy, and like, dude, someone told me this the other day. I was like, "Where are we like connected? Like the trauma whole situation? Like, where are we like
trauma bonding?"
Yes, that has to be it. And like, that's what I keep going back to. Is like, we were trauma bonding. I think.
Yeah.
What we went through was so messed up.
You will always. your friendships with your castmates,
Yeah.
well, over time, you'll
I'll go away.
a little bit, not go away. It'll
Mhm.
never go away because you are bonded through this very
Yeah.
traumatic experience. And that's kind of like you will, and some people you'll stay close with, but they will never go away.
Yeah.
They might, fade away. Certain people you'll like get close and like you may never talk to Shake again. I don't know. Where do you stand with Shake? What was your read watching it back? And we had Deep D on here, and she was like, "No, everyone had my back. Shake was worse." But at least on the camera, that was a redeeming moment for you on the show. Is that you were very quick to call out Shake, which I personally thought was redeeming because, again, if nothing else, you just like decided to embrace the almost to a fault where you're just like, guys, no, this is what we signed up for. This is where we're here. Get your shit together. Like, approach love a different way, the way we said we would on the show. And you called out Shake for that. But what was Deep D correct when she said Shake got a great edit? It was far worse than what you saw.
Yeah, for the most part.
Anything you can add?
It's stuff like where the edits were like you could just tell like the guy was like he was there just to end to go to the end of the show. That's all he cared about.
That must have pissed you off.
It did because you know what? Because if he does it, it makes everyone else look bad. Like it was all fake for everyone else. I mean, he didn't do us any favors at that reunion.
It was great TV.
Oh yeah, you missed half of it too.
What do you mean he didn't do you any favors? I actually disagree with that. I think
you think so.
You can't have a great hero without a great villain.
No.
The greater the villain, the better the hero.
I think he's past villain. Even he is, but
he's a great villain. So every time you even stood up to him at the reunion.
Yeah.
You looked great.
Yeah.
Because he looked so bad.
Yeah.
What else didn't we not see at the reunion?
I can't say this up.
Why?
He called out a lot of people at the reunion and like stuff that would be very, very bad. Shake he means absolutely nothing to me. So like I don't want to give him any more fucking publicity. I don't give any more shit. Like I'm just kind of done with Shake. He's a horrible person.
Horrible person.
He needs.
Those are strong words. I have no problem with you saying it, but they're strong words. And I think I've said this on the. I think there's a lot of great people who go on The Bachelor.
Yeah, I want to say this.
I think there's a couple horrible people.
Yeah, horrible and horrible might be strong. I think he's going through a lot right now, and I don't think he's dealing with it correctly at all. At all. I think there's some underlying issues that are going on that he is like not addressing for himself. Deep down, do I think he's a bad person? I don't know. I can't say that, I guess, because I don't know him that well, but
I really want to know what he said at the reunion.
You're gonna get me in trouble.
Like the producers don't want you to say?
I don't want to say it personally. I don't want it to come out of my mouth. And out of
that bad.
And out of respect for the other cast members, I don't want to say it either.
Who are you talking to from your show a lot these days?
Not really anyone.
No. Why is that?
A lot of stuff has happened outside the show right now where it's like it's just drama. It's constant gossip and drama with them. And like I think they feed off of it a little bit. There's just a new story about me every single time with them. And like I feel like I always get attacked by the whole group of them. And they're always on Natalie's side more than mine. And it's like I just don't need to deal with it. I'm friends with some of them, yeah, for sure. But like
I remember seeing
they all hang out together, and
Nick and Danielle commented.
I love Nick and Danielle.
Okay,
I love those two. They're fantastic. I think they're fantastic, and they're finally like I just love them. Yeah, they're great.
I really think they might work.
Yeah, dude, it's fine.
And I never would have guessed that watching that fucking show early on, but I really think they can work.
Yeah, they're great.
Completely different vibe when they came on for our mediation call.
Yeah, I love those two. Yep. And I talked to Jarrett still a little bit.
But that's about it.
That's about it. I used to hang out with DT all the time. I love DT too. I think DT's a great person. But it just can't work because she's friends with Natalie. Good friends with Natalie. And I can't play the middleman game where she's like going back and forth. It's like our respect for her and our respect for me, it just doesn't make sense right now. It's too soon. It's like I have friends outside of the show that I can hang out with that I don't have to deal with all the other stuff from this show right now.
Makes sense. Shayne, you've been so honest, and I really appreciate your authenticity. Usually on these Going Deeper episodes, we do a mediation call with our guests, but we didn't want to stress you with having to give relationship advice. And so we pre-recorded me giving relationship advice to a couple. So for our audience, we're gonna play our mediation segment. Shayne, you would love this one. This particular fight is a couple complaining about the music that they play on road trips. One person loves Christian rock, and the other one loves heavy death metal music. And so we tried to find a common ground of how to do that. So we're going to play our mediation call, and after that call, we're going to be back with Shayne to find out what's next for Shayne in life. Does he think he's ready for a relationship? Is he currently potentially have an eye on someone? And is he done with Natalie? You might be surprised by the answer after mediation. How's it going, guys?
Good. We're doing great.
Doing great, yeah.
All right, first of all, what are your names?
My name is Renee.
And I'm Justin.
All right, Renee and Justin. You guys married? Dating?
We've been married for 2 years.
Amazing.
Together 5 years.
Congratulations. Who wants to start? Like, who's going to tell the story about what you guys are disagreeing about or disagreeing
it's
about?
obviously going to be Molly here.
I'm waiting for the one
Renee.
guy who's going to step in and be like, I fucking got this.
Yeah.
So far,
okay,
it's been all women being like, it's the guys have been like, no, you tell it. You brought me here.
Yeah. He was already like, oh man, you're going to make me talk about this. So I'll definitely be the one that talks about it.
Justin, we thank you.
I'll just pick up with the rebuttal.
So one of our silly disputes, but still carries on through our whole marriage and relationship altogether, is radio stations when we drive anywhere, let alone to the grocery store or further away if you're taking a 4-hour road trip. We have very different styles and tastes in music. I prefer like Christian worship music. This is what like my number one favorite music is. And my husband's is more like a heavy metal screaming kind.
Quite the opposite.
Those are very different. Yeah. I can't say I'm a fan of either. And not that I don't.
So you're unbiased.
I'm unbiased. Yeah. There you go.
Exactly,
I'm unbiased.
Yeah. You're going to be super impartial.
Okay, so his
is it always
thinking
music
is that,
though? Is it music? Like, or is it often music, or is it like sometimes podcasts and like news radio, or is it just when you're driving, you guys at least agree that you're going to listen to music?
No, to me, it's always been, driver gets to kind of dictate what gets played, and I'm find myself driving probably 100% of the time.
That's a convenient rule, Justin.
Right.
Yeah, so he drives all the time and I'm listening to the angriest music when I'm such a happy-go-lucky person.
It reminded me of a time in college. I was driving with my roommate and he turned on some like heavy metal music and I just like, are you mad at somebody, bro? Or like what's going on?
Exactly.
I thought the dichotomy of what you guys both enjoy is fascinating.
And you just miss out on the good parts of like a road trip of jamming to, anything. Like we just never get to jam.
So Justin, is this rule that you have of whoever drives gets to pick? Is that like how serious about this rule are you, or are we bending at all, or is this like a?
Oh, it's pretty serious. I feel like if I'm driving, I want to be you got to keep the driver comfortable, right? You want him to.
Do you?
I'll bend.
A little bit about me. I don't know if you know this. I fucking hate driving. I can give a shit. In fact, I'm often like, Natalie, you're driving. I'll smoke a little weed, so I'm like, can't drive. Like,
Oops.
I don't like driving. I don't. I know not all men feel that way. A lot of men like to be behind the wheel. They like the control it offers them. I don't know. Where do you land on that kind of spectrum, Justin, in terms of do you like to drive? Are you indifferent?
Is it an act of service?
Yeah. Is it? Yeah.
I drive for a living. I've got my CDL and everything, so I drive a big rig and everything like that.
Okay.
So do I enjoy taking long distance trips or anything like that? No, I really don't. If you do it for a living, it's the same thing that you kind of don't want to do it on your off hours sort of thing. But at the same time, I kind of just gotten used to it.
So Renee, what do you think? Do you like driving?
Rather drive for two reasons. One, because I'll compromise with the music. I'm cool with throwing on some Tupac or some Journey or, other stuff like that. I'll meet in the middle.
Down with Tupac and Journey.
Yes. Love that. I know that's very conflicting with my love of worship music, but I'm just a weird person. So I'm cool with that. And I get super car sick. So I would prefer to drive because you don't get sick if you're driving in your car. So when you say
I want to drive because you want to listen to some like Christian rock or Tupac, does Justin, do you ever fight her and say I want to drive?
No, I've never had to fight her. Sometimes I've let her when she's particularly sick, or because I know like the second we get behind the wheel, she's going to be even sicker.
Mm-hmm. But I know he likes to drive too. Like that's my thing. I know he prefers to drive. So we've compromised a few times. And like when we'll do road trips, we'll listen to comedy and stuff like that. But I'm talking even 90% of our trips, we barely really take road trips because we have 3 kids. So we're going to the grocery store and it's always, what's that radio station on night or Pandora is like, there's like this.
Oh, the Pandora.
Pissed off music just playing every time we go to a grocery store. So I get out of the car and I'm instantly like, oh.
What if you guys just agree? And I don't know if this is the solution, but because what if you just agreed to like listen to both Christian rock and hard metal on your own time? And couldn't you find like things that, because it sounds like you guys both agree that you like some other things together. So like, can't you guys just listen to that stuff? Because you're both like, and again, no offense to the people who love the Christian rock out there or the hard metal, it's very niche. Like you really got to be into both to enjoy it. Because if you could be Christian and not into Christian rock, be like, listen, I just need a break from all the judgment and all like, saving myself and hallelujah, praise Jesus. Sometimes I just need to like I need to like know where my bitch is at, as Tupac would say. I don't fucking know. Like, but can't you guys just be like, there's such a middle ground of available options in music?
Well, I've tried that, but he always goes back to the driver chooses.
No, I mean, we do that.
95% we'll of the time.
We go to like soft 90s rock or something like that. And then
classic rock is great.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then, 10 minutes in the road trip, she's already passed out asleep. And then
now it's time for the heavy metal.
Yeah.
What kind of volume do you listen to?
Then I wake her up with my loud music.
Baby's asleep.
Then you wake up with 9 Inch Nails in your head.
Wait. 9 Inch Nails is not heavy metal.
I know. Okay. She doesn't get the
9 Inch
idea
Nails.
So
wait, 9 Inch Nails is legit.
Oh yeah. She just hears some of the lyrics and stuff and thinks, oh my gosh, this is.
Yeah, the lyrics
so
can be a bit
metal.
Strong on 9 Inch Nails.
Yeah, and I don't
they're
listen
good.
to
They're good in
like,
concert. Yeah, I don't think 9 Inch Nails is heavy metal.
No,
it's not like heavy metal, but some of the screamers that you just love that they're just so angry.
I've taken really a back seat with those ones. The ones
just
that are really.
I am fascinated. What is the interest in that hardcore music where people are just like? Rrr.
Oh, I don't. Like I said, back in my high school days, that's pretty much all I listened to and stuff like that. So growing up and I'm starting to like grow out of it.
Okay.
So it's not so much.
Does it pump you up? Is that what it is?
Yeah, it was just cool music. It's just a way to release, I guess, some anger without releasing anger. I guess. I don't know.
No, I'm actually just fascinated because like it's clearly
fine.
popular. It's like a lot of people like it. And sometimes you wouldn't expect who likes it. Like, I'll be like, what the fuck? Are you listening?
Yeah.
Totally.
Listen, this is obviously a fun one. It doesn't seem like is this like really, how big of a issue is this like wedging into your relationship? Like how mad have you guys gotten ever, if at all?
I'm a I have a problem. I'm super passive aggressive, so I don't really argue a lot with it. I just like am pissed off for like 20 minutes after we get out of the car, or I'm like pissed off the whole time we're in the car and I turn my knees towards the window away from him because I'm mad. But there's no real arguments about it. Sometimes we've been mad about like just compromise. Like we're in a road trip, so I don't have to put in my earbuds and listen to something else while we're driving. But
well, that's a real thing. So the question is like, it's never about the music. It's about like, who's picking the fight, I think often in relationships, we always wonder like, Justin mentioned you're sleeping, which if you're sleeping, why would you care what music is listened to, except if it's heavy metal? That if you're not hearing the music, maybe whatever music he listens to is fine. But like also, maybe this rule of who's driving is like, maybe it's a little strong. Justin?
Yeah.
I'm driving. I mean, I get it to a certain extent because, like, again, I know I don't like driving, and I know that Natalie would prefer me to drive, and she likes country, and I don't. And when she drives, I just shut the fuck up, because she's driving for me, not because she wants to. So, like, there's this, like, understanding between us. But if it was like, if I was like, no, I want to drive, and by the way, we're listening to whatever I want to listen to, that can be frustrating. I don't think the passive aggressive ever works.
No.
It always creates more fights. I don't like. Is that something when you guys get married, you just is it just because you're too tired to fight, you just become passive aggressive?
No, I think I'm that way. I came from like a rough marriage before, and he's super nice, but I just avoid conflict at all costs. Even though passive aggressive ultimately I know like can create more conflict and doesn't help things in the end, but it's just how I revert to.
Because Justin seems pretty easygoing.
He's the most easygoing. Sometimes it's frustrating.
Music. Get it all out. Get it all off my chest. I scream it out in the car.
Christian rock. I wonder if I would have a harder time listening to Christian rock for 30 minutes or heavy metal. I honestly don't know.
I give it a lot of flack, I'll be listening to it and it's just like the same verse, like really over and over and over. Of course, she's gonna bring up like Rage Against the Machine or something like that because they are very repetitive.
I think music in general is more repetitive than we realize, and you notice it when it's songs you don't like.
Oh yeah,
I think that's
absolutely
fair.
In his defense, though, it does say the same things over and over and over again, and it's super mellow and.
It's just a little cheese for me. Christian
wouldn't be as
rock.
passive aggressive if you gave my music a chance.
Oh no, I can't listen to it for 5 minutes. It makes me want to upchuck.
Have you guys has there been a situation where you've decided on one, either metal or Christian rock, and then the other person has really tried to go along and like it?
I will dip my toes in, like nothing crazy. Like I like Nirvana. Like I said, I like Tupac. I like stuff like that. But I can't fully conform to Rage Against the Machines and stuff like that. Like the stuff that he listens to is the real screaming stuff. I just can't. And I make this guy go to church a lot. So he's already been well versed in the kind of music that I like to just jam out to. And he's not a big fan.
He's going to church.
I just don't get enough of it at church, Nick. I have to listen to it all the time.
No, and there are even Christian heavy metal bands and stuff like that, but I don't think everything I listen to is all about like kill your parents and death to everyone around me and screw everybody. Nothing like that.
I don't know why I love this couple so much that like you guys make it work,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think if she took the time to actually listen to some of these songs, I mean, most of it's just like.
Honestly, what's weird is it's not like the message and the hard stuff that bothers me because I love Tupac, I love Biggie. Like I will jam out to any of them.
I actually think
quite often.
I actually think it's totally okay to like just agree to disagree sometimes in relationships.
Oh, yeah.
It seems like there's a lot of things you guys can listen to that's not Christian rock or heavy metal on the way to the grocery store. And if you're on long road trips together, yeah, maybe one of you, like, you listen to my podcast with your headphones on while he jams out and drives, and make sure that the volume's at a level where she can still hear me, like, entertain the public.
That would be good if it was at a lower level. That would be gravy, because I can still always hear the screaming behind the
That
sound.
kind of music has to be listened to loud.
Well, then, Justin, you need to, I think then maybe really just listen on the road. I mean, you're getting your hours in.
Oh, yeah.
All
I
right,
can always
guys.
do that. Like I said, we'll compromise.
Thanks for calling in, guys. It sounds like you guys are going to be great. Just find different music to listen to.
I can do that.
Great.
For you, babe.
Both of you.
Yeah.
Together.
Thank you. Yeah.
And alone, Christian rock all day long. All right.
Well,
He just doesn't want the hate mail.
I hope people has the same sense of humor that you have about Christian rock.
not all of us do. I do.
All right.
Thank you so
Take
much.
care, guys. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
And we're back. All right. What a great mediation call. For the people who love our mediations, thank you. Don't forget to send in your questions at asknick@castme.com. Cast with a K. If you're in a fight with your partner, fiance, coworker, best friend, whatever it is, our goal is to bring you closer together, not further apart. It is not the Viall trials, as some have feared. So get your partners and convince your in your heterosexual relationships your male partners to do it. They're always the reluctant ones, Shayne. But I will. Every single guy who's come on has been glad they did. I can honestly say. So send in those to asknick@castme.com. Cast with the K. Shayne, back to you. You're kind of take a hiatus from your castmates a little bit.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I actually quite love that. We always get a lot of, oftentimes, common question, relationship question. Me and my boyfriend, me and my girlfriend broke up, but we have mutual friends. What should I do? And I often think it's smart that, like, listen, your friends will be there. If they're real friends, they'll be there for you. And they'll understand if you need to take a step away for your own mental health. You seem like someone, and you mentioned therapy early on. Were you even conscientious of your mental health, any struggles you had with it prior to going on the show?
Yeah.
Like, what's the things that you are grateful for having gone on the show? And are there any things that you think you will be a better person for as a result of going through this very traumatic experience?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, so I've mentioned this before, but because I hate bringing it up ever, because I don't want to use it as an excuse. But my dad did pass away like 4 months before the show happened. So I was not in a good mental place. And should I have gone on the show? Maybe not. I don't know. But like, I still saw it as an opportunity to, like, just to put myself out there. And, just like I really want to do that and just see what would happen. So I got on the show. Obviously, it didn't help the situation. I don't think. I think it just amplified what was going on in my life, and that really did help. Who knows where I would be if I didn't see myself on TV, and I'd just be stuck in this rut the whole time.
Yeah, because I almost weirdly think there's a positive spin on it, because people kind of have to hit rock bottom to try to change.
Yeah.
People don't change very easily. I mean, rock bottom, I don't know if it is the best description, but there's an element of you seem like, for all the things you've been through, and despite you kind of venting here, it does seem like you're trying to focus more on what you can change about yourself rather than why you were wronged. Is that
I'm trying to
yes,
I'm trying to put my ego aside on all this kind of stuff, and like I literally am trying to be, a better person. And when you watch stuff on TV, you learn so much about yourself. You really do. It's wild, and I'm trying to make those steps to be a better person, and to hopefully do it with my next relationship I'm going to be in. And that's something else I kind of want to talk about, but I don't know if I should say it or not. Yesterday was my dad's. My dad died a year ago yesterday.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, and me and we were having a conversation yesterday, and on the one day she calls me a disgusting human being. All this kind of stuff yesterday.
She called
Yeah,
why did she call you like if Natalie was here, what would she say?
It's about this again. It goes. She still can't get over the fact that, like, the whole Shaina stuff.
What Shayna stuff though?
Like
the pod?
Everything outside of the pods. Like when the first 5 episodes dropped, she was getting hate really bad too. Okay. So we were communicating. We were talking.
Gotcha,
and I want to make this very clear. Me and her have hung out once in a group setting, never alone, never hooked up, nothing like that whatsoever. Shayna.
Okay. Just want to make sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you saying you hung out in the group setting while filming or post-show?
Post-show. Oh, yes, no, post-show. Because
Gotcha, okay.
once we kind of like bonded on the fact that we were both getting murdered on this show for the part. So we reached out.
Also, by the way, you were like,
because they're the only two that can understand what we were going through during that time. My friends didn't understand. Like, oh, just blow it off. I'm like, fuck you guys. How do you want me to blow this off? And it was nice to talk to someone who was going through it.
It's just me and the Ukraine crisis.
Unreal.
And genuinely empathize.
Yeah, that was wild.
And also, by the way, you were single. You guys could have been fucking going to swinger parties every day if you goddamn wanted to at that point, right?
Yeah.
But in a vacuum, like without any of the social conditions, like do you feel like there is still that like kind of chemistry between you and Shayna?
No.
Okay.
No, I just think she is a good person. We all have things we have to work on, obviously. And I don't know her that well, I guess, but like I don't think anyone deserves what she's getting all the hate for either. And no, there's nothing there. She's engaged, she's happy, it's perfect. I'm happy for her. I'm very happy for her. There's nothing there whatsoever. It was just more of like a bonding on the show situation that was happening there. That's all it was. And no offense, when we talk, it's gonna come off as flirty because of our past relationship.
Like,
it's just any
gives
guy,
a shit.
Yeah.
Why are you allowed? Like, you know what I think it is too is like because, interestingly enough, the show's called Love Is Blind, right? So much of the show is based off of like not knowing, and you and Shayna look like you fit. The people project that onto. You guys must be fucking kind of thing. Also,
for sure. If I was you guys, I would definitely assume that for sure.
Also, if you were, who cares?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, not now because she's engaged, but then, yeah.
Sure. But back to like Natalie, like I don't. It's just I don't get the
because we tried rekindling. Like I said, we were there this past weekend. We were hanging out, and she said she still just can't get over it. So,
but when you say try rekindling, like.
Just
you guys were
out.
Still single.
Yeah, we were still single, talking and just hanging out. That's all it was.
Did Natalie seem to have a problem with like attention? You're in Chicago. You're tall. You walk into a bar, everyone's noticing you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Natalie has a jealous side to her?
I think we all do. When the show just comes out, I think everyone does because that attention that you're seeing is kind of like unnatural and it's kind of. It's a lot to handle for anyone, I think. And yes, do I get jealous of like if I see her going out and do stuff? Sure, absolutely. This early on, for sure.
I feel like the answer is obvious, but also I feel like it's not. Are you done with Natalie?
I am now, yeah, officially. It's over. And I actually, for the first time, I can confidently say that. If you asked me that a week ago even, I wouldn't be able to answer that question for you.
And that was, and you're both mostly based off your conversation you had with her last night.
Mm-hmm.
So you're done with Natalie.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think right now, focus on your mental health, focus on therapy? Yeah. I mean, listen, if the right person comes along, fine. But now that you have this kind of realization that you're closing the chapter on you and Natalie, in a perfect world, if you could write your kind of timeline for your love story, do you think you need some time as a single person to process or not? You do?
Oh, I do. I can't, yeah. I mean, I haven't been on one date since the show aired. Sorry, since the show finished. Except for Natalie's the only one when we tried rekindling. That's the only dates I've ever been on.
With those new abs, I feel like they want to get some work in. Like, what's...
Well, that's probably why I have abs right now, because I'm not going on dinner dates and eating like shit and drinking. Let's be real.
The abs are like, show me off.
Yeah.
You had quite the transformation.
I know.
Yeah. You look great.
Thank you.
You're better looking in person.
Well, that makes you feel good.
Yeah.
Don't you think so? The words of affirmation is all I needed right here.
There
Thank
we
you.
go.
There we go.
You're very authentic. No one can accuse you of anything. right? I mean, I just don't like whether you like Shayne or not like Shayne after this. You are certainly your truest self. In closing, and we highlighted a little bit. I'd love you to summarize. Like, where would you like to be in a year with things that you're hoping to work on for yourself? Like, what's stopping you from being the partner you want to be to your next partner? And what are those things that you plan on working on the next year so that you can be, you know, no one's perfect, but you can be in a better position to give the love that someone needs for themselves as well?
I need to be a better communicator on how I react to certain things. 100%. That's the number one thing I want to work on. Is like the way I am. It comes off. Like, I'm very passionate. I'm like a louder person. That's just how it comes off. I need to learn how to not be so reactive to everything, and just have like that's just not a healthy way to do anything with your partner whatsoever. And I do that, and it comes off into a bigger fight usually, and I just need to be able to handle. I need to control my emotions a lot better. To be honest with you, it's the number one thing I need to work on. Like listening, I'm getting better at listening already, and accepting I do have faults a lot. I have a lot of faults. I know that, and I'm working on them all.
You're very good at admitting fault.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not perfect. I'm not a perfect person. Like I always say, it's like, dude, you put anyone on TV, you're gonna see we all have faults. We all do this. And it's like, yes, I got into an argument. How many times have you gotten in an argument with your girlfriend or your spouse or your husband? It's like, it's just like, it happens. But like, I gotta learn how to handle those situations better.
Because whether it's on TV or in life, you're a big guy, and a reactive big guy can be very intimidating.
Exactly.
For
and that's the last thing I want to do with my partner is ever intimidate them or make them uncomfortable. And so I need to learn how to control that.
Shayne, this has been fun.
Yeah,
you were very honest.
That's all I want to do.
I really appreciate it. Final thoughts. What would you like to say for yourself? That sounded like, what would you like to say?
I just want so
explain yourself.
Explain
what do you
yourself.
have to say about yourself?
Explain yourself.
Trials.
Explain yourself for explaining yourself.
I wanted to speak my piece today, but I wanted to not go unnoticed that Natalie is a good person, and what we went through was very traumatic for both of us. I just had a lot to get off my chest, and it's going to come off that how I said everything today, but she does. I mean, I don't wish ill will on her. I don't wish her to get hate at all. I just had to speak my truth today.
Your goal is to be understood.
Yes. It's not about trying to bash her or bash her name. It's about me trying to, I just wanted to speak my truth. And this, I always wanted to say my piece once. Because they've been doing their own shit outside of the show too, like podcasts and all that kind of stuff. And I haven't been able to do anything yet. And I'm glad I finally got my word out there.
Well, a lot of people are going to hear it.
I know they are. That's why I came here.
Well, thank you very much for your being your most authentic self. Not sure what's next for you. But if we ever see you on the screen again, you were made for reality TV. You are you're a producer's dream.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It all depends. You're willing to be yourself. I mean, all a reality TV producer ever wants is for you to be honest while you're mic'd up about how you feel about any given situation. And that is you.
That's definitely me.
And that is...
I can't fake it. That's the thing, too. It's like, I'm not faking anything.
As a reality TV producer's dream. So if you ever go back on, you are welcome back. To
open invitation. I love it.
As well. You are a very generous guest, Shayne. And we appreciate that.
Oh, I don't like that. That's not good.
What are you talking about?
A very generous guest. That means I gave a lot of good stuff today, maybe, and it's not going to come out good
honest.
for me.
It was just honest. Like lots of times you interview people and you get the
political answer.
They don't say, they talk for 2 minutes without saying anything.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We appreciate Shayne coming on. Don't forget, again, to send those questions at AskNickAcademy.com, cast with a K. We'll be back next week for our Going Deep episode. More Ask Nicks on Monday. For those of you tuning in to Shayne, remember, if you are into relationships of any kind, we have people calling in with their stories, their situationships, or long-term problems, and they're looking for some honest feedback about how to better handle their situations and see it more honestly. That's on Mondays. All things Bachelor related and other pop culture are on our Tuesday episodes. Bachelor's not on right now, but we're still updating you on the stupid shit everyone does in Bachelor Nation. if there's any updates on filming and things like that. And then next week, going deeper, we have a billionaire, a woman billionaire who essentially invented, as I understand it, female Viagra. And she made it, created it. She sold it to a pharmaceutical company. They, I think, like shelved it. And so she bought it back, took back her power because she didn't think it was being properly utilized. And such a fascinating thing in terms of like, how does this work? Female Viagra, like the sex drive. I think it's something obviously men struggle with, but I feel like a lot of women would be interested in that. Cindy Eckert. I am really looking forward to this interview. We're going to be sitting with a billionaire. That's cool. Obviously, so much to talk about how she got there, women in the workplace, business, also like to sell something and then to buy it back. Fascinating story. And I'm sure we can learn a lot about just sex and sex drive with women and men and what caused her or motivated her to do this. That's our next week episode of Going Deeper. So a lot to unpack. We got some great episodes for you coming out. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to send in those questions. Subscribe, rate, review. We'll see you next time.
Hey guys, thanks for watching, but before you go, make sure you like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you don't miss any future videos like our Mondays Ask Nick for your favorite relationship stories and advice, and our Tuesday Bachelor recaps. See you next time.